Hello and welcome to PoE for Dummies Stash Tab Edition. The only thing purchasable in Path of Exile that basically gives you sort of player power. Equivalent to pay to win for some others, not quite. You decide for yourself. Anyways, in Path of Exile, in order to buy things or sell things, you would need to have at least some knowledge of how trade works, including how premium tabs work, or you can just manually sell everything on the trade channel, which is slower and you might find even more troubles selling to people and so on and so forth. So in order to sell something to someone, you need to have a premium stash tab. What is a premium stash tab? It's a regular tab that allows you to edit it in a way. You can edit the colors, you can edit the affinities, you can set them to public for other people to see on the trade website, or you can set them for a specific amount of currency that you want to sell the items for. You just drag the item or control click the item into the tab, control shift click as well for specified tabs, and it will post on the trade website as such price. So anyways, as a starter account, you get 4 regular tabs, which are 12 by 12 in these little boxes. So every item uses the certain amount of slots. So you basically play Tetris in Path of Exile. Anyways, whenever there's a stash tab sale, that happens every 3 weeks or so for a full weekend, which is Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and occasionally it extends to Monday depending on your time zone. It starts with an announcement on their announcement page, on their main page. They say weekend stash tab sale and so on. So then you know it's time to spend. Usually things are discounted between 20-30% or something. I think it's 25. But what I would advise you to do as a beginner player, if you want to devote some money into Path of Exile, which is a free-to-play game, but it has a lot of loot and garbage that you could collect, potentially. As a matter of fact, today's games are $60, $70, $80 right now, even more expensive, and I think spending $20 on a game that you would enjoy for more than 20-30 hours is completely reasonable if the game is free to play and so on and so forth. Now, I would advise strongly to buy your first pack, this first blood starter pack. This you can only buy once per account, and I cannot show you on my account because I have purchased this many moons ago as a first pack. This pack gives you a cosmetic microtransaction which shows some blood on your weapon and so on, but it gives you 200 points, a stash tab, and that weapon effect. Stash tab is 20 points. It's a regular stash tab, so you get once again one more 12 by 12. You get the weapon effect and so on, and you get 200 points. The deal with this pack is it costs $20. So that's one thing with Path of Exile that other games don't have. Their prices are always in dollars. If you're in Steam, that should be 17.6 euros if you're in Europe. I don't know for other currency conversions, so I'm really sorry about that one as I am in Europe, but it transfers into a fair price. So it's always going to be dollars. Now, you buy this for $20 and then you have 200 points to spend. So what should you get with your 200 points? The first thing you will do in Path of Exile once you finish campaign is you will play through maps and you will get a lot of currency. While you are playing the game, you will encounter currency in its many forms or in its few forms, but once you hit maps, that's when the loot starts mattering a lot. So I would advise to first things first, for your 200 points, get 1 to 2 premium stash tab upgrades. So if you go to stash tabs and go to premium, upgrade 1 or 2 of your premium stash tabs. That is so that you could sell the items that you find. You can price them, you can just put them in a tab, you can set them to whatever price you want, and so on. So that's 10 to 20 points. But then what do we do with other 180? You want to grab a currency stash tab because this one can hold up to 5,000 of each individual currencies that may be stacked to 40. So if you say you have something that stacks to 40 or you have something that stacks to 20, you're going to fill up your inventory quite fast. So the currency stash tab is 60 points. Where is it? There you go. Stash tabs, currency. That's 60 points. So that's at 80 points. You have 120 points left. For 120 points, grab yourself a map stash tab. That's exactly 120 points, and you will thank yourself for life for this. Why? Every map that you can find can be stored in the map stash tab. Well, mostly everything. They've added some other things, which I will explain later. But every tier of map, every type of map, regular map or unique map or some special unique maps, which are guardian maps, you can put inside, and there is up to 72 of them. So later on down the track, you may find yourself having a lot of the same maps that you can farm and so on. Or you might want to do something like I've emptied that one. Something like this. You can fill up this whole tab of maps. But that's for the beginner level. $20 spent, you're gonna get a cool new microtransaction, like a cool new effect. You're going to get one extra tab, so that makes it 5. Upgrade 2 to premium, so you could sell things inside, and get one currency, one map tab, and that's fine. So for currency and map tabs, you can sell them as well. You can sell things in them as well. Click on public, each item individually priced, and go to town. Same for map tab. Right click, public, and then you can right click on these. You can call them whatever. You can put them specified as whatever. It's going to have this gold symbol and so on. And you can price them as well. So you can click on this one, specifically this one. You can each item individually priced and set there's people buying maps all the time. For a regular tab, I've explained it in my previous video. I will shortly touch on this. When you get the tab, right click, click public, set exact price, set how many of whichever you want, and that's it. Affinities, currency, right click. Affinities, currency, click. Whenever you post a currency in a tab, let's say I'm in my quad dump, click, click, click. It goes directly to my currency tab, and in stash options up there, enable tab affinities and affinity auto navigation. If you enable affinity auto navigation, it automatically moves you to the stash tab you're putting things in. This can get confusing for some. I personally don't like it, so do it like this. Anyways, for your second purchase, I've written it all down just so I don't miss something. So for your second purchase is what I call bloat things. The bloat things that you can collect in Path of Exile are essences, fragments, divination cards, gems, and or delve items. So those things are your bloat items. Why? Here's an example. Fragments. You can have a lot of fragments. General fragments for your bossing. Breach, of course, includes bossing. Scarabs, things that add to your map's additional modifiers. Eldritch Maven, invitations, and so on. These are kind of a bloat because they can be cheap, they can be expensive, and so on. You want to grab this one in one of your next purchases, but that is only if you consider Path of Exile your next game to play for a decent amount of hours. I would say if you play Path of Exile around 60, 70, 80, 100 hours, get this second thing. So you would buy 200 points and you would get these. So that's Fragments tab, sorry. Essence tab. This is how an Essence tab looks. This is how essences look in your inventory when you don't have a tab. They stack up to 9. And then to sell them and to upgrade them, you have to vendor each and every one of the kind, 3 for 1. But in Essence tab, we encounter a button called upgrade. When you upgrade, you basically click and it upgrades all the essences of lower tier into the higher tier whenever you just one-click it. A bit of pay to win. It is what it is. Essence tab is 30 points or $3. Next one is Fragments. Well, sorry, I talked about Fragments. So Fragments, Essence. Next one, let's go Delve. Delve basically is what you dig out from Nico. Those are fossils used for crafting. They stack usually up to 20, if I'm not mistaken, for all of them. You don't really need this tab. You can sell these or you can just vendor them, whatever. These are for crafting. Some can be expensive, some can be cheap, depending on the league and meta builds. But that's in general what you want to get if you have extra points. Delve tab is again 30 points. Now for Gem tab holds up to 500. Unfortunately, you can't see from my camera. Let's do it like this. So it can hold up to 500 of gems. They can be sorted by quality, base level, gem level. So base level, gem level, quality. That can be sorted and arranged, of course. What this tab does is it sorts the gems to you, and if you have, let's say, gems of 20 quality or less, so this one is 20 quality, when you vendor a gem that's 20 quality, you get 1 gem cutter's prism back. These are useful because when you have a gem that's level 20, you vendor it with 1 gem cutter prism, it becomes level 1 gem with 20 quality. Now, if you don't have a gem that's 20 quality, but you have like a few, this one's 17, 17 that's 34, nothing happens. Because when you have a gem, or when you have multiple gems that are sub 20 quality, you need 40 quality or more to get 1 gem cutter prism out of it. Basically, this saves you a lot of time to have a gem tab when you drop a lot of gems from 1 quality to 20 or 23 quality to vendor them if they are worthless to sell on the market, if they are less than a chaos or so on, or if you just don't want to deal with it, you need gem cutter prisms to level other gems. You can do that version as well. So you can sort them by red, green, blue, white gems, or whatever. White is portal, detonate mines, and so on. Now, the last one in this set is Divination Cards. Divination Cards, I'll remove my camera again, can be sorted by full stacks, all owned and unowned. If we go by all Divination Cards, you can see how many cards there actually are in the game. You can do the size, however one you want, or whichever one you want. I like to keep it a little bit in the middle, but Divination Cards drop a significant amount. So if you go like this, these are basically just Divination Cards. I can't give these to a vendor because I don't have a full stack. A full stack is represented by blue color. But it's not only giving it to a vendor. You have to go to Liliroth, trade Divination Cards, you input it in, and then you get your currencies. You can't do that if you don't have a full set. But these drop in huge quantities, and there's an insane amount of them. So I would suggest grabbing this tab in your second purchase, or in your first one if you decide to spend more points on a supporter pack and so on, because this is going to be very useful later, as 144 slots, which you have in your regular tab, can fill insanely quickly. Divination card is 40 points. I forgot to mention for gems is 30, which makes total of 185 points for those 5 tabs. So Essence, Div, Delve, Fragments, and Gems. Now, if you're playing Path of Exile for more than 100 hours, multiple leagues, and so on, you will encounter even more bloat. You will then find out about different dumping methods and so on. What dumping is: you go run a map, loot whatever you see, you click a tab, you post everything in, and so on. And you do that over and over again, and then you sit and you have this, and you have to work through an hour or 2 hours to sort this thing through, and then you get a lot of happy hormones whenever you find a great item with a good sale. So, to start off with that one, this tab is a quad tab. It's a premium quad tab. What a quad tab is, it's 4 regular tabs in one. You can see how items basically are smaller in this tab because it fits the same physical area of the screen, but it is smaller cubes. Now, quad tab can fit in four times more. You can put in, let's say you want to roll maps, you want to roll a lot of maps. You pull the maps into the quad tab and then you say 3 chaos per map. And people will buy, let's say, 30, 40, 60 maps. That's how you can do that. Or you just want to sift through some items when you do mapping, when you do a lot of mapping, you just put them all in, dump them all in. This one can have an affinity as well, so you can put that too. Every premium tab can have an affinity assorted to it. So quad tab is 120 points. You can either get a quad tab, or you can do like I did before when influences were a thing. We have Conqueror, Redeemer, Hunter, Warlord, Shaper, Elder, whatever. So that's 6 of them. You can buy 6 regular tabs, a bundle. So there's a bundle for 6, There's a bundle for stash tabs where you can buy 6 stash tab bundle. There we go. Add 6 extra tabs to your stash tabs at a discounted price. They're 110. Usually they're 120. Not premium. If you want to upgrade them to premium, it's 10 per, or it's 65, or it's, 55, just to get it cheaper, and so on. I recommend either or. Getting a quad tab. Quad tab is 120. Or getting those 6 tabs if you don't want to spend money on like Metamorph, Delirium, and those things, because that's the next type of bloat. You have Delirium. Delirium has its own Deli Orbs. You have their Deli Maps, which are Delirious Maps, your Simulacrums, your Splinters. Thankfully, these stack to 300. But there's a lot of them. This is just an optional thing that you can get. It's 30 points. Yes, it's 30 points for Deli, and it's just an optional bloat. I've emptied mine because I've rolled some maps and so on. So there's that. There's Blight. Blight is basically for your blighted oils, anoints, and so on, blighted maps. Now, Blight oil stack to 10. If you want to do the same thing like Essence, you can just vendor them and you are going to get the oil upgraded. If you want to do it in a tab, there's an upgrade button behind my face, and then you just click and it upgrades 10 by 10. That's how it does. I honestly do recommend getting this one if you're doing a lot of blights, or if you are enjoying the mechanic as it is, because you are going to get a lot of oils, sort of a lot of maps, and so on. One thing it helps is, instead of going to Cassia over here to anoint your items, anointing items means you put specialized modifiers on them, like this one allocates alacrity. So alacrity is far on my build, as an example, it's here. If you don't want to go to Cassia to anoint that, to anoint things on your rings for blighted towers, you can do that from the blighted tab. You can just do it here. You can put your oils inside and it will anoint. It will give you a warning if you are anointing an item that already has an anoint. So Blight tab is again 30. Now Metamorph. Metamorph is Stain, and Metamorph is basically build your own monster, but Metamorph as well has a lot of bloated items, which is 5 different types of organs that you can input in. You can save up to, I think this is again 72 or something, and you can get your catalysts. Catalysts stack to 10. These you can sell. You cannot vendor them 3 for 1. You can vendor them 3 for 1 of a different kind. As an example, let's do some that I have. So intrinsic, I have 10, put there in. I'm going to get 3 different ones, and I'm getting, so I got prismatic, noxious, turbulent, and 1 intrinsic back. So you vendor them 3 of the kind for 1 of different kind. You can do that with the cheapest one, and so on. You can't do that in the tab itself. This is a vendor recipe. Metamorph is again 30 points. And the last but not least, there's Flask. Flask 1 can hold up to 500 flasks. You can sort them by life, mana, hybrid utility, or unique flasks, and so on. It sorts them by item level or base type. or their own quality, if you want to sort them by that. But I sort them by item level, as usually people buy flasks that are item level 80 or higher, as they can roll tier 1 on the flasks that's later down in the league. Does this matter, this flask tab? No. If you see a flask, you don't have to pick it up. You can pick it up to earn yourself some extra currency, but I basically have this tab just to dump in and forget about them, because I really dislike sorting them through my quad tab. That's, again, a 30.1. Now, there's a tab that I don't have, that I don't recommend people to buy, but you can, which is called a unique collection tab. Unique tab is 110 points, and with the unique tab you can input, if you are a collectionaire, it tells you the percentage of completion of your tab that you can input things in. So basically collect all the 900 plus unique items or more that there's in Path of Exile, and it tells you the percentage number, but you can only put in one of unique items. So as an example, if you have a multiple of unique items of the same ones, it's going to put in, these are all unique items, it's going to put in only one. So let's say I have two of the same belts, it's going to put only one belt, and the other one is going to sit around in your inventory wherever. I usually put a quad tab with unique tag on it, and it just all dumps in, and I vendor most of the uniques I vendor for like alchemy orbs. That's how you get your alchemy orbs in the game quickly, and some of them actually sell if they're good rolls and so on for a good price. So that's 110. Now that should cover all of the tabs. I will do one more recap. I'll put timestamps. I like doing timestamps now. So I will put timestamps in on screen and in the description as well, just so you don't get confused. But to recap, I consider mandatory currency, map, and 2 premium upgrade stash tabs. So that is 200 points from your first blood supporter pack. Then, in the second purchase, I would consider a really good purchase: Fragments tab, Essence tab, Divination Card tab, Gem tab, and or Delve tab. That's total of 185 or 155 if you don't want to buy Delve. On your last purchase, you can grab the rest that you're missing, which is Delirium, Blight, Metamorph, Flask, Quad tab. You can get Quad tab even before, Unique tab if you want, or 6 tabs plus upgrade like I did for these, but that's basically, I'm thinking about actually removing these and putting them as a sale tab. You can, of course, create new folder. You can put tabs in a folder. You can remove them from the folder. I have a folder here for influences, and you can sort them however you want. One important note before I end this lengthy video that explains every stash tab in the game is, if you want to start a new league and you find your tabs are all messed up when you purchase them and so on, make a character in Standard League, sort your tabs in Standard League, and when you sort them in Standard League, they will always look like that in your leagues. So you won't have any problems sorting them out every league, spending time and so on. But that will be it for stash tab sale type of video. The only pay to win sort of thing in Path of Exile. Everything else is cosmetic, by the way. And yes, that's my recommendation. Hope you guys found this video helpful. If you did, please give it a like, please sub if you don't mind to. If you enjoy more of my content, you can watch other PoE for Dummies series or my build series. There's that as well. So thank you once again for watching. Have a wonderful time, and I will see you in the next video.